Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joffy Noodle Legs here with another Noodle film review. Today I'm going through Fred Zinnemann's High Noon, starring Gary Cooper and Grace Kelly. First of all, let's have a look at this edition. This is the Eureka Masters of Cinema edition, which is a Blu-ray. It's filmed in 4:3 ratio. With this copy you get the Blu-ray disc and you get a booklet about the film. It's got like all different things about the film, different interviews and essays about the film, including sort of photographs from sort of like the film and the making of, and sort of photographs of the cast. So that's quite cool. It does have a reversible cover, which is in fact this cover but in black and white. So this is the edition. Okay, High Noon. So what is this? This is a 1950s, I believe it's about 1952 or 1953 Western, starring Gary Cooper and Grace Kelly. There's loads of other sort of people in this, like Lloyd Bridges. There's loads of sort of Lee Van Cleef. There's quite a few stars in this film. It's based about two brothers, Ben and Frank, whose surname has passed me for some strange reason. See if it tells me on the box what their name is. It's two brothers, and they're outlaws, and them and their friends are there to get revenge on the marshal, who is played by Gary Cooper, because one of the brothers, Frank, was sent to prison. He was supposed to be hanged, but he managed to survive being hanged. We don't really know what the crimes are behind it, but there's a personal story between the marshal and the outlaw Frank, whereas they both shared, I think, the same sort of love interest with one of the women that lived in the town. So there's a conflict of like personal there as well, and obviously him being the marshal, getting Frank put away. I believe that Frank said if he ever comes back, he will come back and kill him. Anyway, he gets released from prison, and his brother Ben and two of his outlaw cronies go to the railway station, waiting for the train to arrive at 12 o'clock, high noon, which is what it's based around. This is all sort of based upon an hour before the Frank arrives back into town. So the marshal is going around, I think it's Marshal Kane, I think Kane's his surname, is going around town trying to get sort of like a posse together of deputies to sort of like deal with the outlaws when they arrive, because obviously they're coming to get revenge on the marshal. But none of the town folk want to help. I think because a lot of them are scared, and a lot of them actually quite liked the outlaws for some bizarre reason. Anyway, the film begins on his wedding day. He's getting married to Grace Kelly. That's not the same girlfriend that him and the outlaw had a relationship with. It's a different woman. Anyway, they've got a little. They're going to leave town because they found out that obviously the Frank Miller. That's it. Ben and Frank Miller. That Frank Miller was returning to the town. So all the town folks said to him, get out of town. Get out of town, because obviously, if you're not there, probably nothing's going to happen because he's not there. But he starts to leave the town with his new wife, Grace Kelly, but his conscience gets the better of him, and he wants to go back to the town to sort of like, no, I'm not running away, sort of thing. And you get to think, well, if you do go away, there's going to be no trouble in the town. I'm thinking, but there again, you wouldn't have a movie, would you? But I just think to myself, well, why would you do that? Why would you put yourself and your new wife at risk? But anyway, it was his last day of a marshal because he was going to retire. But he goes back, and he has a fight with one of his deputies, Lloyd Bridges, who then decides to hand his badge in, and he's left on his own. to sort of like deal with these four outlaws, which is Ben and Frank Miller and their two friends. Um, and the story is based around that, and it's pretty much him going around the town trying to get deputies to fight these villains. Now, nothing happens in the film until like the last 10 minutes, and it's like a classic sort of a gunfight showdown at the end between obviously him and the four outlaws. Now, I'm not going to go into the depth of the actual what happens because I don't want to ruin it for you if you've not seen it. So that's the premises. That is what happens in the film. It's an excellent film. It's an amazing film. It's just brilliant. I mean, I've watched this film since I was a young boy. I think the first time I saw it would have been back in my old house in Stevenage with my dad, watching it on telly or on one over, when BBC Two or wherever, whenever they might have shown it. But I have fond memories of seeing it back then. And it's a great Western. It's a fantastic Western. It's full of suspense, and it's just full of like nail biting, sort of like, oh, what's going to happen? You don't want this guy, this guy, because he's actually a good guy. He's a good marshal, and he's done a lot for the town, and like the law-abiding town folk really like him, but they're too scared to go on his side to help against the outlaws. And the other half of like the sort of saloon dwellers are not so keen on him because obviously because he's abiding the law. These sort of guys like the more outlaws because they just do. Business is good and stuff like that. But it's a really tense story. It's really, really cool. So I'm going to give you the positives and the negatives. So the positive of the film is the storyline. It's fantastic. It's an amazing story. It's a classic Western. If you ever see one or two Westerns in your life, this is one of them. It's got brilliantly acted. Gary Cooper is fantastic in the lead role, and everyone plays their part believably, and it's such a really, really well acted film. There's no sort of cheesiness in there. It's just a full on, well acted, amazing film with legendary performances. It's beautifully looking. It is black and white film, but it looks really sharp on the Blu-ray, and it's really, really cool. And the sound quality is in its original mono form, so you've got the mono sound. They haven't tried to revamp that up. The main theme song, which is sung by Tex Ritter, sort of plays throughout the whole sort of film. You hear it in the background throughout the whole film. So we're going to go to the negatives. The negatives about this actual copy of the film is I don't like the ratio. It's in 4.3, so you've got black lines either side and of the film, not like Letterbox, but the other way. Now I would have preferred it in a 16.9 ratio, which would have been the Letterbox way. So instead of seeing the film like that way on your screen with like a letterbox, it's like that. So you've got nothing this side and nothing that side. I know it's because that's how it was filmed, but I just think with today's technology, that could have been something that could have been worked on for this edition. So that's a negative, but it's not negative about the film. It's a negative about this version. And the only other thing I think is a little bit negative is the main song, Tex Ritter's song, which I do like. Do Not Forsake Me, I think it's called. Can't remember, or High Noon is the actual song. But you can hear it playing all the time. It's just like, okay, we have a different song now. But it's playing through the whole time throughout the film. But it doesn't take away from the film or anything. So they're my positives and negatives. Now, scoring this film, I'm going to score it as an essential watch. And I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Okay, this is one film that you have to see within your lifetime. It's an amazing film. It's what legends are made of. I mean, it's just fantastic. From start to finish, the film is just incredible. Absolutely love this film. So this is a 10 out of 10 film from me. High Noon. Please watch it if you've never watched it. Yes, it's a little bit of a slow burner because it's not like your normal Western where there's like horse chases or shootouts or something. There is at the end, but it's a more of a build up to that. And I think it works brilliantly for this film. And I just think that's what makes this film better. And it is one of the greatest Westerns of all time. As you know, this will be in my top 10. I will be doing a top 10 Western shortly, and be for sure this one will be in it. Is it going to be number one? We have to wait and see. High Noon. So there we go, guys. That ends this review. It is definitely worth checking out. I love Westerns, I really do. They're a mixed bag. You can either get an amazing Western, or you get one that's a bit wishy-washy. I suppose a little bit like the horror films, really. You can either get an amazing horror film, or some horror films that are just like, oh, that was a waste of time, rubbish, or whatever. But you get that with Westerns. But Westerns, you don't get as many now, but in the 1940s and 50s, even through to the 60s, Westerns were really like one of the high sort of genre films that were really popular. And I loved them. I love them. I absolutely do. So stay tuned for a top 10 of my favourite Westerns at some point. And also, I will do a review on the Hateful Eight at some point when I've gone through and watched that and given it a couple of viewings. I tend to watch films a couple of times. This one, High Noon, I think I watched it again last night to give myself a refresh. But that must have been about my 25th to 30th viewing of the film since I've been alive, really. Just love it. But anyway, thank you for watching this. Stay tuned for some more reviews. Look after yourselves, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.